Welcome to Larry the Alchemist, and welcome to my favorite and least favorite songs from the first five Metallica records. I've seen other people doing this on their channels. It seemed pretty fun. Thought I would do it here with Metallica. I'm going up to and including the Black Album, because really after the Black Album, I kind of lost track of Metallica and stopped following them until Death Magnetic came. Got back on, and maybe I'll do a video at some point with Death Magnetic and forward, but I thought I would just keep it with the first five here. This is hard to do because especially the first three albums, the first four albums are really classic. I'd give them 9 or 10 out of 10s. Black Album, I would rank that a little bit lower. There's some burnout factor with some of these songs, but again, for the most part, these albums are all great. So let's jump into it. Favorite and least favorite. Favorite from the first album, Kill 'Em All. I'm going with The Four Horsemen. Love this song. I know Dave Mustaine was involved in the writing in this, and he did his version of this with Megadeth called Mechanics, but I think this version is much, much better. The intro is, I love that intro. Da-doo, da-doo, jonka, 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 jonka. That's just great. Epic. The main verse riff is very driving. The chorus is very catchy. Horsemen drawing nearer, on a steel they ride. That's love it. That section, there's two tempo changes, and I've always said this, I love gear change tempo shifts where all of a sudden it's just like it shifts into something else, and here what it goes in, then the time it's coming to get on you. That part is just great. I love that change. And then when it goes into that halftime thing with the guitar kind of doing that descending bass note, that is fantastic. I love that. I love the way the bass starts sort of climbing up the neck while the guitars are going down, the bass starts going up. Great. Love this song. All right. My least favorite on this. This is a great record. Some people might say Anesthesia Pulling Teeth because it's an instrumental and it's a bass solo, but I'm a bass player, so I love it. So I'm not going to pick that. I'm going to go with Metal Militia. This is a great song. Hard to pick again. I almost went with No Mercy, but I kind of like the Merciful Fate feel to that song. Metal Militia for me is cool, but maybe it's not as catchy as some of the other songs on here, so that's why I picked it. But like I said, I still think it's a great song. All right, Ride the Lightning. Another 10 out of 10 record. I've done individual videos on a lot of these. I'll try to remember to link them below. This is a song, my favorite song on here is a song, you're at a show, it comes on the PA system, everybody goes crazy, everybody's singing along. Tiny bit of burnout factor with this, but I still think it's a fantastic song, For Whom the Bell Tolls. I say this all the time on my channel, add a tolling bell to a song, I'm all in right away. So that's got that going for it here. Cliff's distorted bass melody thing at the beginning. That's legendary. Fantastic. The verse riff, man, is just pure metal. Yeah, it's like a tank, running over trees or something. It's just so chugging and so just heavy metal. I mean, if you had to tell somebody who had never heard heavy metal before and you played them that riff, that would be a good example of what heavy metal is. The chorus is absolutely classic. Great sing-along thing. Oh, the bell tolls. I mean, just great, man. Whenever you hear that song, through a PA system or you're in a bar or something and it comes on the jukebox. I mean, if you're a metalhead, you got to sort of sing along with that, right? Okay, my least favorite on here, this one was easy to pick, and it's Escape. This song always sounded out of place to me on this record. It has this weird kind of, the verse is heavy, but the chorus is just strangely melodic. That makes it sort of not fit here. Almost makes you think, were they thinking oh, let's try to get a song that maybe would get played on the radio? I don't know, but it just always stood out to me. It's a little too poppy, and the chorus really drags the song down for me. So that's my least favorite on Ride the Lightning. All right, another legendary record, 10 out of 10 record. Is it the greatest metal record of all time? You could make that argument. Shows up at the top of a lot of lists of the greatest metal album of all time. There's some burnout factor with this song, but For Whom the Bell Tolls, when you hear it live over a PA system at a show, everybody gets into it. I'm talking about Master of Puppets. It's an all-time metal classic. When people are ranking the greatest metal songs of all time, this is always really high up on the list. That intro descending guitar line, awesome. I love the fact that it's just kind of moving down the strings chromatically there, one fret at a time, up to the 12th fret on the guitar and all the way down. That's really creative. And then that little fast sort of finger twisting thing. It's like something that every heavy metal guitar player has to learn at some point. Just great. The chorus, it's another one of those things you just got to sing along when that chorus comes up. I absolutely love when it breaks down the master, and there's that melodic, classical sounding middle section, and then that heavy dun 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 da da dun dun. I mean, come on, when you hear that blasting through a PA system, I mean, everybody's head just starts banging. The whole master, just great. Again, if you had to say, I said with For Whom the Bell Tolls, if there was a riff you had to play for somebody to explain to them what metal is, you could also play them this song. This has got a little bit of everything. It's got the fast driving stuff. It's got the big shout, fist in the air chorus. It's got the slower, quieter classical part, the chugging part there at the end. Kirk's guitar solo is great on here when it goes into the double time thing. So it kind of has a little bit of everything. Okay, least favorite. This is tough because to me, this is a solid 10 out of 10 record. If I got to pick, I would say Welcome Home Sanitarium. I feel like that one, maybe it's a little too mid-tempo for me. I don't want to say it drags on, but it takes a little bit of time for that song to get going. So again, great song. Have to pick something. I'm going to pick that one. All right, and Justice for All. For my favorite song on here, I picked The Shortest Straw. I like the tight, robotic sounding riff here. This weird mix with no bass in it and Lars's sort of cyborg sounding drums. It actually works on some songs. I could have picked the title track too. That could have worked. Blackened is great too. But I've always liked Shortest Straw. The mix actually seems to help the way the guitar and the drums are just sort of lined up with each other. James spitting the lyrics out in the verse with like a venom to his voice is great. It's almost prog-like. I felt like, they always say this is sort of Metallica's progressive record, and this song has some of that too with the shifting riffs and everything. All right. Least favorite, I went with the frayed ends of Sanity. I don't like that thing at the beginning, I mean, what is that? That just sounds so silly and comical to me. I don't know why they put that in there. And the verse riff has this weird kind of groovy quality to it. It's almost like predicting a little bit of the 90s, like Pantera and the groove metal thing that would pop up in the 90s. I don't really like that. I don't like the chorus. I just don't think the song is particularly catchy. So that one comes in as my least favorite. Okay, the Black Album. Now, this is one that, all these other records are 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10s for me. This one is more like a 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Some very serious burnout factor for some of these songs on here. Could have went with Enter Sandman, but I did kind of like that song when it first came out. But for my least favorite, I could have picked Enter Sandman. For my favorite, though, I'm going with The Unforgiven. And there is some burnout factor involved in this. But I've always thought this was a great song. That reversed horn sound at the beginning. Again, there's another bell here. Add a bell to something, you gain points in my book. That classical, clean acoustic guitar thing, I think sounds great. I love the way the verse riffs are heavier. I think the chorus is really catchy. I like the lyrics in this. I think the guitar solo is really great in it, which is kind of funny because if you see the making of this record video, you see Kirk really struggled with this, and the producer kept pushing him, that's not good enough. And then he came up with a really great solo at the end. So I've always loved the song. Some burnout factor there, but I went with that. All right, my least favorite, like I said, could have picked Sandman. Didn't, because there was a point in time where I did think Sandman was a pretty good song. I never thought that was a great song. But I went with Nothing Else Matters. Never really liked this song. Felt it was kind of boring. Never gets off the ground. That intro thing just like picking the open strings on the guitar. It's just like, I don't know, this song always felt boring to me. There's definitely a way overkill burnout factor on this. This got played like crazy on MTV, so that's kind of factoring in it. But I just think it's a boring song. I almost picked for my favorite song "The God That Failed," that cool little bass intro, and I do like the riff in that and the lyrics and everything. But I went with the Unforgiven. All right, there you go. There's my favorite and least favorite from the first 5 Metallica albums. Let me know what you think of my picks. What are your picks? Leave them down below. Make sure you like and subscribe. Till we see you again. Stay heavy, stay metal.